Hi, Chuck Pugh with Block Home Defense and Security. We're going to be doing some basic handgun training today. We're going to be using the Glock system to do that. Safety first. Never believe that a gun is unloaded until you check for yourself. How we do that with a semi-automatic handgun, we're going to pull a slide back, look down, nothing in the chamber, no magazine to allow another round to be picked up. When we close it, we're going to close it on an empty chamber. We never want to point any gun at anything that we do not want to destroy or kill. We always want to keep our finger off the trigger until we're on target and ready to pull the trigger. We always want to know what our target is, what's beyond it. Also, when we're at the range, making sure no one's walking down along the side or in the back while we're still firing. Okay? Glock system is a very safe, very simple system to use. Not a lot of safeties, push and pull. Some have 2-3 safeties to use on the Glock. Your main safety is built right into the trigger, and with every gun, your trigger finger is always the main safety. So make sure you keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot in a safe direction. When you're talking about semi-automatic handgun, you're talking about a magazine feed system. Today we're using snap caps, which are a dummy round. Always make sure that you're safe when you're handling your guns. Don't get into a practice situation where you have live ammunition and end up, again, destroying or killing something you don't want to. Okay? Every time I pick up a magazine on the Glocks, there's a viewport in the back. My thumb automatically finds those viewport. That way I pick the magazine up the same way every time, whether it's coming out of a pouch, out of a pocket. It's faced in the right direction that I want to use it. Same with the handgun. Every time I pick a handgun up, I pick it up the exact same way, the way I'm going to shoot it. It's muscle memory. So when things are going wrong and I don't want to be thinking about things, my muscles take over, muscle memory, and I'm doing the right thing each and every time. Okay, so we're going to take our magazine, indexed in the rear, up into the receiver, driving it up with the large part of our hand, okay, tapping it and pulling it. We can put that magazine up in there and it's going to stay up in there, but it's not seated properly. By pushing and pulling, we're making sure that it's seated properly. If it's not seated properly, when the action works, it may not pick a round up, and then we're going to have issues where the gun's not going to go off because we have a misfeed with the ammunition, a malfunction going on. We don't want that to happen, because when we want to pull the trigger in a life and death situation, we want to make sure everything's working the right way. Okay? Our grip on a semi-automatic handgun here. Again, finger off the trigger at all times. My shooting hand, thumb is pointed towards the target, down along the side here. With our shooting hand, the main thing we want to do for grip is our fingers in front, pulling back, the heel of our hand pushing forward. Our shooting hand is responsible for gripping front to back. With our supportive hand, we're going to use this part of the hand right here, laying it down in that area that's provided right there from our other hand. Thumbs together, both thumbs on the rail, this underneath the top of our shooting hand, laying it right in there, thumbs pointed towards the target. Okay. Our supportive hand is responsible for gripping from side to side. So this part is pushing and our fingers wrapping around, is squeezing in. Now we don't have to death grip the weapon. The two grips together is giving us a nice firm grip on the weapon, and we're not going to fatigue ourselves by squeezing too hard. Okay, so we have thumbs together, pointing forward, this squeezing this way, the shooting hand front to back. Some of you that have shot revolvers before, you have the tendency to want to put your thumbs back here. Don't put your thumb back there. You're going to have a definite problem. When that goes off, that slide's going to come back, and you're going to wish you never did that. Thumbs together, pointing towards your target. That's what you want to remember with that. Okay? So, we have the magazine in. This gun's still not loaded. The magazine's loaded, but we do not have one in the chamber yet. How you load a semi-automatic handgun? Real simple. 2 ways. The handover method, ripping backwards, letting go, allowing the spring to work on its own, picking up a round, chambering around. The problem with that method, you have to watch your rear sight. You don't want to gash your hand when you're doing that. The other method is the slingshot method. You're not now worried about the rear sight, but you want to, in-home use, you want to think about going around corners. If you have to work your action, you're at the corner. If you're out too far, somebody might reach over and grab that from you, okay? I like the handover method. Again, large muscles. You're here. Think about a pickle jar. When you're working a pickle jar, you're in here. This is where you're going to be. This is where your most strength is. So again, large muscle stuff. Okay, so we have the magazine in. We want to now chamber around. Okay, now with the Glock system, again, there's no safeties up here to be working. The safety's in the trigger and our trigger finger. So on the Glock, when we pull the trigger now, the gun is going to go off. There's going to be a round fired out. So finger off the trigger until we're ready on target to pull the trigger. Okay? Good grip on the weapon. Okay? When we do fire, this goes off. On its own, the gas from that round is going to throw the slide back. Ejecting around, the spring is going to push back forward, loading another round into the chamber. Okay? We pull the trigger again, it's going to go off again. Okay? Notice I pulled the trigger the whole way back and I stopped at the rear. Okay? This has a trigger release about halfway up. If I go to that and stop, now I only have to pull the trigger back halfway again, not the full distance. Okay? Using that to my advantage. Gun goes off. Ejects, spring pushes forward, loads another round. Okay? Again, holding the trigger the whole way back until I find that release. Okay? Off trigger. Now, with this, I only shot 2 rounds off. Say I need to reload or I need to unload completely. Let's say I didn't shoot anything out of the gun. It was loaded and I didn't shoot anything out. I need to unload now. Okay? On the Glock, on the left-hand side, the magazine release is over here right behind the trigger system. I can use my finger if I'm using my left hand or my thumb. Okay? If I'm doing that at the barrel when I have a loaded weapon, I'm at the load-unload barrel, pushing that in, catching that in my hand. There's a round still in the magazine. Okay, I want to stow that in a safe place. The gun's still loaded though. Just by unloading the magazine does not unload the gun. Remember, we loaded one into the chamber, so there's one in the chamber. So if I push or pull the trigger right now, the gun's going to go off. Okay, so to do that, down in the barrel or in safe direction towards the ground, hand over, allowing gravity to work with me. I'm going to work the slide back, catching it round, allow the slide to close. Again, keeping that in the safe direction. There's a round that was chambered. Keeping our finger off the trigger while we do that. There's a round where we put that in a safe place now. Okay? The gun is still not loaded because we did not see it go closed on an empty chamber. So again, pull the slide back. Now there's nothing in the chamber. There's no magazine to grab up another round. We're going to close on an empty chamber. Okay? Now we know the gun is safe. It's unloaded. It's safe. We can now reholster safely. Here at Block Home Defense and Security, your safety is most important to us. So always be safe when you're handling firearms. We're going to be doing some more trainings with revolvers, shotguns, some self-defense techniques that we teach here. Check us out at www.blockhomedefense.com. Live safe, live free.